Ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and events taking place on the African scene. And we will start off with our major top stories and reports. A decades-old border dispute over fertile farmland between Sudan and Ethiopia, fueling regional rivalry and even sparking fears of broader conflict. More details in the following report.
A border quarrel is escalating over Ethiopian farmers cultivating land claimed by Sudan. The territorial argument also comes amid the fallout from unrest in Ethiopia's troubled Tigray region, with tens of thousands of refugees having fled into Sudan. Arguments over Al-Fashaqa, an agricultural area sandwiched between two rivers, where Ethiopia's northern Amhara and Tigray regions meet Sudan's eastern Gadaref state, date back decades. With the zone contested, the exact area is not clear, but Al-Fashaqa covers some 12,000 square kilometers, an area claimed by both Sudan and Ethiopia. But analysts and observers point to a flashpoint zone directly along the border, covering some 250 square kilometers. On paper, according to colonial-era treaties from 1902 and 1907, the international boundary runs east of Al-Fashaqa, meaning the land belongs to Sudan. But on the ground, over the years, thousands of Ethiopian farmers have entered the region to cultivate land during the rainy season. At times, Sudanese forces have sought to expel the farmers only for them to return.
Welcome back, and still with our special reports. Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok on Monday invited the United Nations and Washington to mediate in Sudan and Egypt's dispute with Ethiopia over the upstream country's vast dam on the Nile. Details follow.
Faisal Mohammed Saleh, a spokesman for Sudan's Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, said the Prime Minister sent letters asking the UN and the US to intervene and mediate in the dispute over the Renaissance Dam. The three countries have been locked for almost a decade in inconclusive talks over the filling and operation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile, which broke ground in 2011. Sudan last month called for mediation by a quartet of the UN, the US, the African Union, and the European Union, a proposal welcomed by Cairo but rejected by Addis Ababa. Cairo sees the dam a threat to Egypt's water supply, while Khartoum fears Sudan's own dams will be compromised if Ethiopia proceeds with filling the Grand Ethiopian Dam before a deal is reached. The two downstream nations have urged Ethiopia to hold off on filling the reservoir until a deal is signed. But Addis Ababa announced last July that it had completed its first-year filling target and would proceed with the second stage in July this year, regardless of whether an agreement is in place.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and moving on to South Africa. Well, South Africa's largest ethnic group, the Zulus, will bid farewell on Thursday to their king, Goodwill Zwelithini, who for half a century was their charismatic but also controversial figurehead. Details.
In South Africa, the longest-serving king in Zulu history, the monarch died on Friday after 50 years on the throne. Under Zulu funeral rites, he should be interred by a few select men, an event the palace calls a planting of his remains rather than a burial. The Zulus are popularly known for their vibrant culture, especially the timeless and riveting ancient war dance performed by the rhythmic stomping of feet. The late king exuded the image of a traditional chief, typically sporting a poncho-like leopard skin chest cover and wielding an unquestionable spiritual authority. He spoke to powerful political leaders and appeared in public with Nelson Mandela. He also had visits from President Cyril Ramaphosa and ex-President Jacob Zuma, during which they were seen performing the gripping Zulu war dance known as Umzansi. Even though he lacked executive power under the South African system, he still had moral clout over more than 11 million Zulus, nearly a fifth of the country's population. For now, Secrecy shrouds the identity of Zwelithini's successor, due to be picked on Thursday, although the question is on everybody's lips. Ordinarily, it would have been the eldest son born to the senior of his 6 wives, with whom he sired 28 children. But his first son, Prince Luthukuthola Zulu, was killed aged 50 last November at his Johannesburg home. It is a complicating factor that the man who would likely have been the designated king is already dead. Historian and cultural analyst Ntuli Pikita said that while the palace will have resorted to a very intricate way of picking the successor, its inner circle should know already who the next king will be.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and with that we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.